There you go. That's the signal. All right, I'll call to order the Town of Mount Desert Planning Board meeting for September 11th, 2024. Welcome aboard. So we are still in hybrid territory here in person and on Zoom as well. And if you are on Zoom, welcome to. And I think we all know Zoom protocols by now. Silence yourself. Sign in on chat, no side discussions on chat, and welcome to the fun. I'll start with introductions. I'm William Manley, I'm chair. We've got vice chair Tracy Loftus-Keller, Gail Marshall, and Alan Kimmerly are regular voting members, and we wanted to welcome Daniel Burke to the board, first time tonight at the table, and our new alternate member. And
I move that we make him a voting member for this meeting.
I second that. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And
A motion.
yeah, here we are. We've got minutes. Do we have minutes? There you go. And these are the minutes from August 14th, because we didn't have a hearing on the 28th, as we didn't have any applications.
I move approval of the minutes.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go, minutes approved. All right, let's keep going. All right, first, let's see, well, technically third item on the agenda tonight, we have conditional use approval application 009-2024, name Ringing Point LLC. Agent is Noel Musson, the Musson Group, location 39 Cooksey Drive, Seal Harbor, tax map 29, lot 002-001. Zone is shoreline residential 2 and resource protection. Purpose is section 6B.8, fences and walls, and 3.4, excavation or filling of greater than 150 cubic yards. We had a site inspection at 4, and we're abutters and notified, and this one advertised.
I don't know. I don't see that here.
That might have been why Kim got up and ran out of the room.
The other matter is well advertised.
Is it in the public notice there?
Yes, it is.
For the other one.
So oh, that will suffice, but yeah. I don't know about abutters, but
I've got
so Ringing Point, here's the abutters notice. 9 different abutters were notified by letter dated August 28th.
I get you sign it.
And that was in the Courier Gazette, Ellsworth American, Mount Desert Islander, and Republican Journal on August 29th.
Yep. All right, great.
Yeah.
So, yes. And again, I'll just reach out to Zoom land, and if you are on Zoom, yeah, please sign into the chat so we've got that. Just help help us keep attendance, and so we've got butters notification given, and we had a site inspection at 4 o'clock. And Gail, would you care to report on your observations from the site?
This is a large construction project underway, and there is currently, as part of that project, that's in the interior of the project, not abutting or probably visible from any other property or the public way, a construction road that was temporarily built over an existing fairly steep grade on the property, and in order to build that road they had to remove a number of walls and retaining walls, and this plan, as I understand it, and the layout is attempting to address what happens after they no longer need it and they back out of the construction road.
And what would you describe the plan as? Or
well, I can describe that as here. It's not part of the site visit, but The plan would be to build approximately 5 retaining walls that are roughly semicircular, curved, semicircular in shape, that step down the grade, and it would be landing, short set of stairs, landing, short set of stairs, landing, short set of stairs, short set of stairs down, and there'll be a walkway or a pathway through them that runs through the middle of, that bisects this project, these retaining walls. And apparently that is to replace a previously much steeper construction, which involved one long steep set of stairs, stone stairs. And my understanding is that the construction materials will be concrete that will be faced with rock that will make it look very similar to the existing landscape, and will make it look somewhat like the prior structures.
Anything to add, Alan?
There was a little bit of the old wall left, and it looked kind of like it certainly should be replaced. And the steps on I guess that would possibly be the north side of the road, looked pretty precarious. Haven't been used in a very, very long time. But it is quite a project back in there. Lots of activity, lots of vehicles.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you.
Do we need a conflict of interest?
Is there any conflict of interest on this one? No. Go for it, Noel.
Great. Well, thank you. I think the summary of the project was pretty accurate based on what we talked about out there. But yes, it is a series of less steep, less high, I should say, retaining walls, and sort of a semicircular pattern to read that we're going to be doing once we are able to take out the construction access road that was built to get down farther into the property closer to the shore to build a new structure down there. And the intent is to, as we build back up the road, take out the access road to start to reconstruct the landscape, and in order to make a transition between sort of an upper area grade, there used to be a parking area up there, which will be newer landscaping, and to get down to grade appropriately. We have to build a series of walls to make the path easier to traverse. The construction of the retaining wall, as Gail mentioned, is going to be stone veneer, which would be a similar color as the old stone wall that was part of your pictures in the packet. And it really replaces the tallest. The taller one is the proposed wall is only about 10 feet at its tallest point. As it's a semicircle pattern, it actually has like kind of different grades as it goes around the natural grade. And then it progressively gets less steep from that point. The previously existing wall was like 13 to 15 feet tall at its highest point. So it'd be a little less steep than that. Less tall, not steep.
All right.
Happy to answer any questions.
All right, well, I'll open it up to the public. If there's any questions from anybody, now's your chance. Going once. Twice. If you have any questions about this project, ask away. All right, I'll close public comment and let's get on with it. So, first matter to review is if where the board considers the application complete.
So moved. I move the application is complete.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Second matter, anybody?
I move we use the short form.
I second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
We're using the short form checklist tonight. And then procedurally or little circle we go in here, then. Anybody care to make a motion to approve the application?
I move we approve the application.
I'll second that.
Right, then we press the pause button and we review the application, so let's do it. So I've got the short form checklist in front of me. I've got the application, got my land use ordinance. We should all be open to section 6A. And then just the review processes, you got the checklist to give us our format for it, and then we're just kind of following along with the application, and then we'll have a findings of fact and conclusion law for each section of review. So, and any questions from the board along the journey, just ask away, and we'll all get through this. It'll be all okay. So, all right. Here we go. Section 6A, general performance standards, 6A1, compatibility. And the applicant talks about that, the proposed retaining walls were replacing old walls that needed to be repaired. They had to be demolished. They have this temporary road in place. The new walls will be a stone veneer, the similar type to the previous. The walls aren't going to be visible from other properties and are integrated in the landscape for the property. And the project is compliant with the overall density requirements in this district and lot coverage requirements. So 6A1, compatibility, C application, erosion and sedimentation control. And also I'd like to thank the applicant for doing this narrative because it's very easy to follow on. So 6A2, erosion and sedimentation control. Applicant says that the project will employ erosion and sedimentation controls, and they've got exhibit 5 showing that. So see application. Highway safety. The properties of residential in nature and the project under review will not increase the demand of the local road network. So see application. Impact on town services. Proposed project will not require any town services or increase the use of any services. So see application. 6A5, land suitability. The proposed retaining walls are intended for soil retention, grading, and erosion control. They'll be pinned to ledge and not constructed on soils at risk of erosion. Landscaping will be integrated between the walls to ensure stability at this part of the property. So see application. Lighting outdoors. Applicant says there's no lighting proposed at this time. So I would say NA. 6A7, stormwater. The proposed project is actually helpful for stormwater management, and it integrates proper grading into the construction. Again, on exhibit 5, there's a stormwater and erosion control requirements shown. 6A8, vegetation.
So was that C application?
C application, yes. 6A8, vegetation. Any vegetation removal is associated with the permitted uses. There is no vegetation removal near the town roads or accumulation of slash associated with the project. So see application. 6A9, dust, fumes, vapors, odors, and gases. There will be no dust, fumes, vapors, odors, and gases resulting from this project. See application. So the findings of fact are presented by the applicant in the attached application, and the conclusion of the law is that the proposed use is in compliance with all standards of section 6A for which the standard has been met.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. All right, moving on. Section 6B. Specific performance standards for activities and land uses. And so most of these, and almost all of these are NA. So 6B1 agriculture, NA, 6B2. And Noel, this is still on the shore firm checklist.
Yes.
Air landing sites, NA. 6B7 goes from 6B2 to 6B7 on the checklist. Excavation. So one of the reasons why you guys are here tonight. So applicant talks about that filling and excavation is associated with the proposed construction of retaining walls, erosion and sedimentation control specs are included in Exhibit 5. Anybody has any questions about that? So say C application, and then 6B8 fences and walls. Again, the applicant talks about the proposed retaining walls are replacing the old stone walls that needed to be repaired and were demolished and installed the construction road down to the lower construction site. As part of the removal, they're going to be replanted, the area is going to be replanted and new walls are going to be installed. We have details, section details of the wall construction, retaining wall construction. The tallest wall is going to be 10.5 feet rather than the previous 12 to 13 feet. Other walls will be less than 5 feet in height. The project area is not in a property line setback as shown as on the submitted site plan. There's no fencing proposed on the retaining walls. And again, the construction plans are submitted in Exhibit 3. So I'll say C applications, C application. So the rest of this is NA, 6B16 sign regulations, 6B18 wireless communications facilities, 6B19 animal husbandry 2, 6B20 mobile food vendors, 6B21 rooming house, 6B22 hotels and motels are all NA. So the findings of fact are that the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6B, except for 6B7 and 6B8. And the conclusion of the law is that section 6B is not applicable except for section 6B7 is section 6B8, for which the standard has been met.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then you guys are in a shoreline zone, so we have to do section 6C, general performance standards for the shoreline zone. So 6C1 agriculture, applicant says NA. 62 archaeological sites. The applicant says that the project area is not listed on the National Register or by the Maine Historical Preservation Commission. See application. 65 essential services NA. 66 parking areas NA. 67 marine and freshwater structure standards. You're not building a pier, so NA. 69 roads and driveways, NA. And 6011 water quality. Applicant talks about the proposed retaining walls do not deposit pollutants into the ground or discharge waters that will affect water quality. See application. So we need 5.9.
Vote on the seat.
Yes. So the proposed use will include none of the specific activities or land uses described in section 6C, except for section 6C2 and 6C11. Conclusion law is that section 60 is not applicable except for 60(2) and 60(11), for which the standard has been met.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-9.
Yes. I did not do it.
It's in the application.
It's in the
Yeah,
application.
you filled out 5-9 in the application, you just didn't do a narrative.
Oh.
Page 20.
Page 24.
No. No.
You know what, I was actually on the fence about it, it's so close to being on the edge of the shoreline zone that I wasn't sure it was actually in it, but that's why.
So what, just for the record, when we do have a project in the shoreline zone, we have to do this extra section 5.9, and it's 5.9 is standard specific to shoreline areas. So here we go. So we'll maintain safe and healthful conditions. See application. Will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sedimentation of surface waters. See application. 593 will adequately provide for the disposal of wastewater. And there is none. 594 will not have an adverse impact on spawning grounds, fish, aquatic life, bird, or other wildlife habitat. See application. 595 will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual points of access to inland and coastal waters. See application. 596 will protect archaeological and historic resources as designated in the comp plan. See application. 597 will not adversely affect existing commercial fishing or maritime activities in a shoreline commercial district. NA, you're not in the shoreline commercial district. 598 will avoid problems associated with floodplain development. You're not anywhere near the floodplain. NA. And 599 is in conformance with the provisions of section 6A, B, and C. You might want to change that one to standard met. No.
Yes.
So the findings of fact are see above, and the conclusion was that all requirements for section 5.9 have been met.
So moved.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Do we need to verify the abutters notification?
We
Circle back to that.
I
we
did
did.
that at the
We did
beginning.
public notice, okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
No, making sure.
Thank you.
I had trouble locating it, but I did read it.
Are there any permit conditions on this one?
Do you have any?
Do we have it? No, I'm not. You're not in the 75-foot setback. You don't need any federal or state permits for this. So no permit condition. Yeah.
For other bids.
No, right. No, no permit conditions. So then we circle back to our 8-track player and press play on the approval vote. All those in favor of approving the application? Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate your time.
Thank you for doing it. So no, don't forget to go over there.
Yes.
They did.
All right. Daniel's first signature. Yeah. Mhm.
That's like, wish that we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I said, well, it's too tall, and I said, I didn't do this. It's like,
Yeah.
because the issue is, it's gonna be replaced.
I don't think it matters. I think the height matters. Yeah, that goes in,
Can I have the original? Wait, is that just that folder? Let me have that folder, all of it.
all of that. We're good. All right, item 4 on the agenda tonight, we have subdivision approval applications. Yeah, and tonight we have a completeness review. It's subdivision 002 2024. Owner is Broadway Cabin LLC. Agent is Maria Spolino. Location is Aspen Way, Mount Desert. Tax map 12, lot 13-29-005. The zoning district is Shoreline Residential 5 and Rural Woodland 3. Purpose is to divide lot 5 within the Soul Terrace subdivision, and it is amendment 4. Was this one advertised and?
Yes, it was in the same advertisement as the.
No, it wasn't advertised.
It wasn't?
No.
I thought there were, no, I thought the meeting, I thought.
The butters notices were notified within the 1,000-foot radius.
Oh, okay.
Not required to do public in the paper.
It's the whole, okay.
Got it. All right, so there was no site visit with this one. You've already had the initial sketch plan review of it. It was a site visit with it. So now you
Right.
guys are doing completeness,
Okay,
and you're
right.
just kind of walking through your checklist of
Okay,
it.
it's here. And, is there a conflict of interest with?
Oh, I think there might be with myself as our architecture firm is working with the applicant, and also I live in this development. So I think I should probably
Okay,
take a seat in the audience.
all right. And is there any kind of a checklist for this?
So what I would suggest, let's have a photo, my user.
Oh, yes.
I would suggest that you just follow along in the, with the app, what they had sort of submitted.
Okay.
And you. Yeah, in the subdivision checklist section, yeah. It's just, you gotta drill down through all of the,
Okay.
you know, there's the name on this submittal and this and that.
All right,
I move we accept the recusal of the Hanley.
I'll second that. All right.
all in favor?
I
All right, have fun.
Okay, take your hammer with you. Leave it with Tracy.
It's not his, it's functionally.
Yes.
So I'm gonna just read down through this document in front of me. It's the application division of Solitaire subdivision lot number 5. And first we're looking at the subdivision ordinance on section 4.2. And I'll just begin with the name of the applicant. Owner is Broadway Cabin LLC, and Maria Spolino is the agent, authorized agent. Broadway Cabin LLC is licensed to do business in the state of Maine. And then section 4.2.1 lists Tom Benson as the professional engineer, and provides address and name for correspondence.
Tom Benson's actually the surveyor.
Right.
That is there.
Oh, okay.
Bill the bells.
The applicant is the declarant under the Solitaire subdivision declaration of protective covenants by way of assignment of the declarant interest in the covenants from the development of Solitaire subdivision, New Somme de Sol LLC. The assignment is enclosed in the packet. The preliminary plat plan covers the entire contiguous holdings of the owner. The parcel being divided is the entire contiguous holding of the applicant. The parcel being divided was previously approved as portion of the original plat plan for Solitaire subdivision and the previously approved first, second, and third amendments to such plat plan. The developer of Solitaire subdivision, Somme du Sol LLC, has sold each of the existing 6 contiguous lots comprising of the Solitaire subdivision to different owners. Section 4.2.2, information on the parcel to be subdivided. The location of the property is map and lot. It says 12 013 029 and 005. The survey maps of the tract to be subdivided, as well as a contiguous property of the owner of the tract certified by registered land surveyor, tied to established reference points. That map is enclosed here. The zoning district is SR5 and RW3. The acreage of the parcel to be divided is 12.68 acres. An SSWD by a licensed soil engineer identifying soil types and a map showing the location of soil test areas, unless the parcel will utilize public sewer. Based on the soil test results, certain modifications of the preliminary plat plan may be required. Attach a copy of the soils report. There shall be at least one satisfactory soil test report per lot, which is enclosed with the packet. Names of the property owners within 1,000 feet from the parcel to be subdivided and on the opposite side of any road from parcel to be subdivided. And there are a number, A through K, of such people listed there. Number 7, any restricted covenant to be placed in the deeds, no restricted covenants, no new restricted covenants. Proper soil erosion and sedimentation control. Same as previously approved original plan from Solitaire subdivision and approved amendments thereto. All improvements have been completed with the original development of Solitaire subdivision. Water is supplied by wells. See section 4.2.3, information on the subdivision. The proposed name of the subdivision, same as existing subdivision, Solitaire subdivision. Number of lots. Currently the Solitaire subdivision has 6 lots. With the subdivision of Solitaire subdivision lot 5, there will be 7 lots in the Solitaire subdivision. Date, North Point graphic map scale shown on the plat is enclosed. Proposed lot lines with approximate dimensions and suggested location where known of buildings, subsurface sewage disposal system, and wells shown on the plat is enclosed herewith. Location of temporary markers so located as to enable the board readily to locate lots and appraise basic lot layout in the field shown on plat is enclosed. Location of all parcels to be dedicated to public use. Conditions of such dedication, as well as the location of all natural features of site elements to be preserved, shown on the plat, is enclosed. A location map consisting of USGS topographical map showing the relation of the proposed subdivision to adjacent properties and to the general surrounding area. The location map shall show all the area within 2,000 feet of any property line of the proposed subdivision and shall be attached to subdivision enclosed. Location and size of existing buildings and other essential existing physical features shown on plat is enclosed. Location of all wetlands regardless of size, all water bodies and areas within the state shoreline zone shown on plat is enclosed. Location of all drains which shall provide adequate stormwater management is enclosed. Location and size of any existing and proposed sewers and water mains and culverts and drains is enclosed. Location, names, and widths of existing and proposed streets, highways, easements, building lines, parks, and other open spaces shown on plat is enclosed. Name of abutters shown on plat is enclosed. The subdivider will determine, based on the Federal Emergency Management Agency's flood boundary and floodway maps, whether the subdivision is in a flood-prone area. If the subdivision or any part of it is in any such area, the subdivider will determine the 100-year flood elevation and flood hazard boundaries within the subdivision. Not applicable. Other information not indicated above as specified by the board to be determined if anything is applicable. I don't know if we want to discuss that.
I don't need to.
I do have a question of one of the section 4.2.3,
Okay,
and that's 7 of the map. The requirement is that the location map should show all the area within 2,000 feet of any property line of the proposed subdivision that shall be attached. Does this map do that for us? The map that's included?
No, I can't read the one that's in the packet. You got the bigger map?
I just
The only one I have is the one in the packet.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
small one.
I can't read the small one.
I know, that is,
But is the big one, isn't there a big one?
I don't
The
know.
original
let me
file?
see if I got
I
one.
think we saw one the last time.
Yes,
But
but I'm wondering if you have it there.
this is a complete map, it's just small.
No, but it doesn't have, like, it's supposed to show 2,000 feet around all property. And I
printed it. You have the big map?
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
help if you have it.
This is the one that has the proposed.
It may be a technical compliance, but compliance is.
Well, it does have the. Up on the corner has the locus now, which might suffice,
Is that on that one?
but it doesn't.
There's an original big map and then you have it on the table.
Yeah,
No, not the one they provided. The town, we have that. Do you have?
I don't see it. I don't know unless it's underneath. Something. Something, no, that's a list of butters.
Anything out in there?
No, I don't see a large map.
is it different than this one?
Well, there's. Number 3. Well, that's what they're proposing. I mean, it still has it. The only thing you see different is the SWAT line.
Right, it's just the way I'm reading this, it seems
Yep.
pretty. The location map shall show all the area within 2,000 feet of any property line of the proposed subdivision or shall be attached to the application. And I assume, I don't know what that means. I mean, do we need to have 2,000?
It has to be within 2,000 feet of this.
Correct,
these
so
lot
that, but, and this cuts off at the property.
And I think
Right.
there's, it's meant to be the USGS. We have it on our small copies, but it's not on this one. I
Oh,
think
the
that
little,
would suffice.
the little.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's a little
location.
one.
But that
I
would
didn't
show
bring
the
my,
2,000.
If I use my glasses backwards.
Ah,
I think this is doable, I think it's just the language about ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As long as that location map is on the amendment that we sign, I think we need to.
Right, but I can't I can't, I can. Right.
Somebody on the.
Oh, Elizabeth Fox, yeah, she's on that. Her name is down here.
Elizabeth, when Kim gets back in the room, she can let you speak, but I don't have control of the Zoom right now.
I don't see a size requirement.
No, it has to be comprehensive. I don't. No, that's simple. Do we know what this was taken from? I mean, what it must have been, what the, look, was it always this size or? Probably recorded like that.
Yeah.
You probably got it from Tom Benson.
Yeah, it would just be a new version of what was previously used for the prior.
Right.
None of you back, so, the.
And there's some.
When you get a chance, Kim, Ms. Fox wants to speak. And we told her, hold on, take it back.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And do you have to let her in
Or anything?
or she just unmutes? Yes, just unmute.
Yeah.
There you go. Hi.
Hello, I am in a butter. Thank you for notifying me. I wonder when would be a good time to ask a point of information, if at any time.
Well, this is
a
public hearing. We have that coming up.
That's coming, but if she has a question, maybe about the exhibits. Clarification, maybe,
Right.
you wanna, let her ask a question?
Sure, what is your question?
Well, I'm wondering when I might theoretically provide any input, and it sounds as if it's not this meeting. I'm unsure about how I might, if there's any way I could oppose such a division, just theoretically. I haven't attended one of these meetings for decades, I'm afraid.
If I could just explain the process. This is this meeting is for us to consider whether or not the application is complete. And if the final application is complete, then we hold a public hearing. There would be at a subsequent meeting. And at that, the public would be invited to provide input. So it's it is a process that's designed for normally a whole new subdivision, like Solitaire is in its entirety. So we have to go through that entire process, even though it's dividing one lot into two as opposed to multi-faceted. So there will be a public hearing, and that would be in a subsequent meeting, assuming that we find that this is complete, and we're ready to go forward with that. But that's the next step after this completeness review, which is what we have now. And if you look at if you have a chance to go online and look at our ordinance, 4.4 of the subdivision ordinance is the completeness review process, and then 4.5 describes the public hearing.
Thank you very much.
Continue in the same manner. The next section here is 4.2.3, section D. Section D, section 5, general requirements. This section was, as applicable, complied with in connection with the approval of the original sold fair subdivision and the approved amendments thereto, including without limitation and completion of all necessary improvements to the sold fair subdivision, and as applicable, remains in compliance as it relates to the division of the sold fair subdivision lot 5. Subsection 2, Mount Desert Land Use Zoning Ordinance, section 6A, 6B, and 6C. These sections were, as applicable, complied with and in connection with the approval of the original sold fair subdivision and the approved amendments thereto, including without limitation the completion of all necessary improvements to the sold fair subdivision, and, as applicable, remain in compliance as it relates to the division of the sold fair subdivision lot 5. Section 3, Maine Revised Statutes, Title 30A, Section 4404. This section was, as applicable, complied with in connection with the approval of the original sold fair subdivision and the approved amendments thereto, including without limitation the completion of all necessary improvements to the sold fair subdivision, and, as applicable, remain in compliance as it relates to the division of sold fair subdivision lot 5. Section 5, Maine Revised 4. Maine Revised Statutes, Title 38, Section 482, Maine Site Location Act. This section was, as applicable, complied with in connection with the approval of the original sold fair subdivision and the approved amendments thereto, including without limitation completion of all necessary improvements to the sold fair subdivision, and, as applicable, remains in compliance as it relates to the division of the sold fair subdivision lot 5.
I have a question about, maybe for Kim, about these provisions that relate to the prior subdivision that are applicable here. I assume, but I don't necessarily want to assume, that we have records of, I don't see us in a position of relitigating the prior subdivision, but we don't actually have anything that indicates where those documents are and when this prior board approved these, and what's on file with regard to those. Would we need something like that in this to?
Well, I mean, this subsection, I think, yes, under section 5, that you'll want to look at. Specific to, are you going to require them to put any buffer in?
Right.
Or maintain a buffer, if you will. Conformance with other laws and regulations. They mentioned the Site Location Act. And then section 4404, which these are sections that are additional to what you, and I have these here, which also you have to look at and make findings on. Construction prohibited, that's a given. They can't get any permits. The road's already in, so all the road construction is in. It's been verified. Those plans are on file. I know that for a fact because I took them with me when I did the inspection for the roadway. You're gonna want to look at 5.7, just making sure the lots meet the minimum lot area requirements. Sewage disposal, you can state, there's a letter in here from Bill LaBelle stating that there are test pits on each lot. To verify that there is suitable soil for a septic system for development. Open space provision. Performance bond, see, a lot of it's already been done previously, because this is just a lot that's being divided within a
Right.
previously approved subdivision.
Right,
So mainly it's lot size, septic. And 4404 is pollution, you know, sufficient water, municipal water supply, that's not applicable, erosion, not applicable, because you're not proposing any development.
right,
It's all done, you're just actually creating a lot line between
right,
a lot.
right.
So a lot of it's gonna be not applicable, but I think some of it you should go over and make sure that you've got an exhibit in front of you that is acceptable to you to find this application complete.
So that would be having copies of those prior documents. For
And I
the
guess that's your
subdivision.
call, but I can certainly bring you the file. I don't know how you wanna do that. It's gonna be your call.
Me neither. Anybody else? I just think that in order to. Again, I know it feels like overkill, but in order to act on a subdivision application. A subdivision application is a subdivision application is a subdivision application, and I don't think that we can just say, oh, well. That's been decided in a prior document, and then not have any specific reference to what those documents are, and whether or not. They're valid, you know, whether or not they actually do meet the provisions. The current provisions, I don't even recall. I mean, that subdivision's been around for quite a while, I don't know to what extent, if any of the standards or requirements have changed since in the statute or ordinance. I don't know. So maybe we should have. Attached to this somehow, a more granular sense of what the provisions. Of the existing subdivision actually are. Is that making sense to anybody else besides me, sort of?
Well, you've got the previous, right, subdivision plan. I provided that too, at your site, at your pre,
The map?
Yeah.
Yes,
the last amendment, which was amendment 3. And then they're proposing amendment 4, right?
yes,
And all the information on that 4 is on 3. If you want. You know, I can. Bring you the road design. Specifications, the road is in, like I said, this proposal is not extending the road.
right, yeah, no, I mean, it's more the, I mean, you mentioned some things, the buffers and any of those issues are going to. Are going to be, how they're going to be applicable to this. Because we have 6A, 6B, and 6C of the zoning ordinance just says, well, that's already been decided in a prior application. But we don't have a citation to a particular plan or an application. I mean, maybe we could just correct it with that.
Well, 6A and 6B and 6C, I don't think are applicable because those are for uses and development standards, and they're not proposing any.
Okay.
5.7, I think, yes, like I said, under the subdivision ordinance, it's lot density. I mean, you want to make sure the lot meets the zoning requirements, right?
Right, and it seems like it does. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we need to reinvent wheel in terms of review. I think a finding of minimum lot size would be good.
Mhm.
I don't see that.
Septic, I think. would be-
Septic,
You've got Bill Bell's letter.
I
Right.
think we're good on that. Yeah,
I think a lot of it is not gonna be applicable.
Right.
with This review, with what they propose
Okay.
to do.
Okay,
I think you should take 4401, 4404 of the Maine statute, which is also. The you know, you gotta look at the Maine state revised statutes all. And a lot of it is redundant, a lot of its review process is very redundant. Because again, you're looking at erosion on, they're not proposing any, so it's gonna be NA. Municipal water supply, NA, because they're gonna have private wells.
Right.
Traffic, do you think this is gonna generate more traffic? Sewage disposal, you got a letter in here. Municipal solid waste disposal, financial and technical capacity, again, the subdivider, all he's doing is dividing a lot.
right,
So he's already got a survey done,
right,
and he just has to create, put the lot meets and bounds. There's no surface water going to any river segments. Groundwater not applicable, they're not doing any soil disturbance, so it's nothing being done.
okay,
It's just creating a lot line, there's no floodplain there, there are wetlands and they're designated on the
right,
current plan. There's no farmland that I'm aware of,
right,
no river, streams, brooks, spaghetti lots, that's usually shoreland when you got
right,
1-to-5 ratio or 5-to-1 ratio.
right,
A lot of it's redundant, but a lot of it's not applicable.
okay, all right. That will work.
Can I make a motion to, find the application complete?
I still have a problem with the map. I mean, if there is a map somewhere, if there is a map somewhere that shows 2,000 feet entirely around lots 5 and 7, then I think we've met the requirements, but I think that's pretty plain language. Like it or not, that's pretty plain language in the ordinance, and I don't know how we get around that. Now, if that's included in this tiny little subset here, I can't.
How is that typically denoted on these types of, the 2,000 feet, their experience?
So I've seen it on,
Yeah.
like a map that's been provided by the town, which is actually a butter, actually, that just shows 1,000 feet, but it does show lots beyond it. The locus wouldn't satisfy it.
So the town map
focus
would,
in.
the town map, if it were attached to this, would be adequate.
I would say so, yes.
Okay, all right, we just need to add it, that's all.
So just provide a copy of the tax map
Yes,
of that area.
With including the butters.
Yeah.
Yeah. just whatever 2,000 feet around comes out to.
A new condition or found complete with the.
Yeah, for that connection. Okay,
If you feel that that's adequate, but that's your call, not mine.
right, right.
To add.
I'm not sure why it requires 2,000 feet, because you have to notify it only up to 1,000 feet, but.
Right, that's what it says.
I
language.
I don't write, I didn't write.
Okay, so you make a
See
motion.
something like this?
That give you 2,000, it's so small.
This one is just, I know, this one is just tax map payable, so.
It will apply. Get my parents there.
My reading
Right
glasses.
there. No, I got it. Thank you very much.
On top of them?
So yes, the tax map there.
Had not.
So it's about 2,000 from each point of that lot.
Yeah, 2,000 and 2,023. It's just over a third.
And exactly what you can do.
This is 400 feet, so.
Yes.
This specifically says USGS topographic.
Hmm.
Which they build them in, it's just not on that frequent.
Yeah.
Which I don't see any sense.
Well, the board and public action, it needs to be comprehensive. Are you making a motion?
Are you going to look at 5.7 and find the findings on those? I mean, because that's something that's being newly proposed in this subdivision, new lots, and dividing it, making sure it meets zoning, and then.
May I read your?
Absolutely.
You want mine? You want it? It's on page 12 or 28 of the subdivision ordinance.
Okay, so section 5.7 has to do with lot density. 5.7.1 says the lot size, width, depth, frontage, shape, and orientation, and the minimum setback line shall be in accordance with the land use zoning ordinance.
And that's what it is.
Section 5.7.2, where individual on-site sewage disposal systems are to be utilized, the size of each lot shall be based on soil characteristics and shall at a minimum conform to MRSA Title 12, Section 4807A as amended.
And Bill Labella's report speaks,
Yeah, that's also 5.8.
and that's provided.
See, there's redundancy right there. So the rest is not applicable, I would do 5.8.
Sure you don't want to talk about liquor sessions.
No, we don't need to do that. So I'm going to skip to 5.8 sewage disposal.
Well, did you make a finding on 5.7?
Oh. I find the application complete with respect to 5.7. So I make a motion
Second that.
Lot, I'd say for lot.
for lot density.
Lot density.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then 5.8.2, because you can say 5.8.1 is not applicable because it's not.
Right.
It's not within 1,500 feet of a public sanitary sewer.
Okay.
5.8.1, sorry. Yeah, 5.8.1.
Okay. And sewage disposal 5.8.2, where private subsurface sewage disposal is to be utilized, the subdivider must conform to all state and Maine plumbing code and LUSA requirements. Furthermore, 1, disposal sites shall be totally contained within the lot being serviced. 2, systems shall be designed and to the highest standard for the specific use. 3, there shall be no contamination of existing or proposed wells or any other water source.
We need you to have a preliminary septic soil report that has been revised, updated as on 7/22/24 by Bill LaBelle, who is a septic system designer and inspector, and he finds 2 test pits on each of the proposed lots suitable to either a 2 to 4 or 2 to 3 bedroom dwelling, but perhaps no more than that on this site. A system itself hasn't actually been designed yet.
No, it's just soils have been
Yes.
tested for adequate for design.
Right, because they're not, that would be up to a proposed builder, whoever the owner is at that point. So this seems to be complete for this phase.
Do I continue on with 5? I know.
Not unless you would what, by what?
I don't know. 5.
Wells.
No.
No.
Do we need a
finding, the other finding voted on? Yep. On 5.8.
I find the application complete with respect to 5.8.2 sewage disposal. And the remainder of 5.8 non-applicable.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is there any other sections that you?
Finance bond. Street design. Open spaces. No. Need to go back and act on 4.23. Compared to 1, 2.2, 2.3. So I will move that the application is complete with respect to the subdivision ordinance sections 4.2.1, 4.2.2, 4.2.3, and 5.
Second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That might be it.
4404,
Pardon me?
remaining statute, 4404.
Okay.
One I could have sat here and read.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Thank you. And then 6, like, Lord, wait, there's nothing on it. Move the application to be complete with respect to Title 30A, section 4.4404. That is about. Okay.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
I
Aye.
and sidewalk. If we have found section 6 largely inapplicable at this point in time, should you just make a motion to that effect? I move that section 6 of the land use zoning ordinance is not applicable for this application. Said someone has some. Great to second that.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And last one, I believe, is the Maine Site Location Act. Yes. I find the application. Yeah, these are the ones in which we don't. Is 38,482 largely the road and that sort of thing for the
Yes.
subdivision?
Yes.
So that's past tense at this point, that's already been done.
Established.
So I would move that, Title 38, Section 482, the Main Site Location Act has already been complied with by the original Solitaire subdivision.
And not applicable to this amendment.
Correct. And not applicable to this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So the absence of the needing to have the map attached.
And about names and addresses.
We don't have the Americans and addresses.
No, they're gonna provide the names and addresses within the 2,000. They're gonna put.
Oh, within the 2000.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're gonna
sorry.
put it
Yes,
in a
these people.
separate
Yes, yes.
document.
2000 or 1,000?
It's 2,000.
Well, it says 2000.
Not sure why. We got
No.
201, we don't want.
So I would move that the subdivision application is complete except pending the provision of a map that complies, map and list of butters that complies with um 4.2.3.7. And now, technically, are we able to find a complete pending that? Or, I mean, we can't go to a public
They have
hearing.
many times.
The,
Done that.
the board has done that,
They
okay.
have done that
All right.
many times.
It makes sense, I just.
Yeah.
So pending provision of a map that complies with 4.2.3.7, subsection 7. I move that the subdivision application is complete.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
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 So then that would be all of our business on that, correct? We have within 45 days of having received a complete subdivision application, we will have a public hearing. Okay.
So can you set about to determining when that next, the next year? Do you set when the next hearing would be? Public hearing?
Yeah, it won't be for, gonna be publicized, so they won't be able to go until the end of October.
Right. Sometime within 45 days.
Yeah.
I think we'll get through.
All right, so there you go. Congratulations, you guys. The next hearing, next step. Are there any other, for the next matter is other on our agenda this evening? Does anyone have anything
A
to add?
reminder that there will be the reoccurrence of the Luso committee on next Tuesday at 5 is when the Luso usually meets. We will be trying to re-energize the Luso board to get to work on what we need to get to work on. One of the things that we will be doing is backing up and finding out what people's priorities are for the time that we have. And what are the highest priorities, and it would be very important to know if the planning board itself has specific aspects of the ordinance that it would be important as more greater or lesser priority to be able to take to town meeting in the spring. So there are a bunch of, for example, a bunch of work had been done on a revised subdivision ordinance. Maybe a smoother flowing subdivision ordinance, and that kind of got stalled out last year. How much of a priority is that? How much of a priority is anything else that the planning board sees as something that constantly is a sticky wicket that could be improved with a better ordinance? So please come to the meeting or express your concerns and moves of board members. And let's see if we can get as in sync as possible. There are a few things that have to be done, mostly related to statutory changes, but I don't think those are gonna take up an enormous amounts of time. We will be, at the first meeting, a subject has been raised about shoreline zoning. As by a member of the community, as it relates to lots that are contained, at least partially within the shoreline zone. Within the 200, they're within the 250 feet, but are within the shoreline zone. And there's some confusion about that, and Noel is gonna be present at the next meeting to walk us through how those provisions actually work. And whether or not anything does or doesn't, whether or not the community should be considering whether or not they want to alter how the law is written as opposed to what you can do. The specific question was whether or not if you buy a lot that's within 250 feet, plus you've got more land that's part of that lot, why can you not build something else on another portion of the lot? My memory is fuzzy about some of those details, but that's one of the and I think everybody's is, and that's one of the reasons that Noel is gonna come and try to dig into that issue, so we understand it and know what, if anything, the Luso thinks it should be recommending. So, and I've let that person who brought that issue up know that we're gonna be talking about it. So that's it, that's coming up on Tuesday. Yep, back in the South.
Also at the, September 25th, Aaron Noel's gonna be bringing applications, revised applications, which hopefully will streamline and make the new process easier, hopefully, than what we have for the applications now.
And we're gonna get those in advance so that we can.
I hope so.
Good.
I have one now, that I got last year, but I'm not sure if it's changed. And I haven't sent it out.
Cause I specifically raised that with him, in particular with.
Well, I mentioned it.
With
It was marking up
the non-conformance.
Yeah, we don't have, yeah, there's no application for any non-conforming structures, reconstruction, replacement. Change of use of a non-conforming structure. There's no formal application or any checklist to go by.
And that's hard for us, but it's also really hard for the public to know what they need to do.
Yeah, because nobody knows what to fill out for submit. What's the expectation?
I mean, I talked to them about the fact that, for example, that provision 4 is pretty much just the statute that's been kind of chunked up, statutory language just plopped down into the ordinance, and that meets our requirements under state law, but it's not user friendly, except especially for the lay public to people aren't lawyers to understand how to interpret these provisions so that you can make sense of what everyone needs to do. I don't. Checklist would certainly help.
You should attend a shoreline zoning training. But I have to attend it.
It sounds like a threat.
No,
You think we actually
no
should?
threat. I think it would be beneficial to you.
Oh, good.
I do.
So who put, the MMA puts that on?
DEP does.
Oh, okay. Will you let us know when? Thank you.
Would I make a motion to adjourn? If we're all done?
Yes, sir. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Thank you.
Hammer.
Oh, hammer.
Hammer.